Yes, very many people who go abroad, they come out to explain about the culture shocks they find in some countries. And there's a video I stumbled on when a certain lady was talking about culture shock, but I think he got it very wrongly. Listen very carefully as I explain. Here's the tape.
Some of the culture shocks that I had when I had just moved to Germany from Uganda. So first of all, the first thing that I immediately noticed is the fact that in Uganda, when somebody has something great, let me say like cars now, here on the streets, like every car is either a BMW or a Volkswagen or, you know, a Range Rover, those really great cars that we really like. But in Uganda, when somebody has that car, it's a big deal, and the whole world will know. Like if somebody buys that car, they won't sit down. They'll be like driving this way and that way until everybody knows that they have that car. I'm not saying I'm different.
So first of all, young lady, let me teach you. BMW, Benzes, they're manufactured in Germany, where you live from. Okay? So it means that these people are getting the cars somehow cheaply. In fact, there's a saying that if everybody has something, it ceases to be a matter of just faction. Since BMWs and Benzes are manufactured in Germany and Volkswagen, at least a country where a BMW and a Volkswagen will be cheap is Germany, because they manufacture it themselves. So it won't be a big deal. Do you know that a person who has purchased a BMW in Germany and a person who has purchased a BMW in Uganda, and one who was supposed to a BMW in Uganda, it will be so much expensive because first of all, the cost, the transportation price from Germany to Uganda, the taxes. So it is true that a person who has brought a BMW in Uganda has to show off, because the car will be more expensive than the one in Germany. So it's not a culture shock, it's just a matter of economics. And since I was the best in economics in my class, at least I've taught you that. Let's continue.
It's just us. But then here, everybody has like that type of car, and it's like it's something normal. And I think I like that about them. Not to say that they don't, I think for them they do kind of like a quiet kind of showing off, but it's not as loud as ours. Another thing is also like the way we dress. Like here, I feel like there is a way they dress, like even the colors, they're different. Like the clothes that you put on back in Uganda, they probably wouldn't make sense here. Especially, I think, because of the weather. They don't really like bright, and not that they don't like it, they don't like them, but they don't really wear them. So their
so
colors
you've answered
usually
yourself
like
properly. Clothes vary on the weather condition, on skin color. A white person wearing a bright color is even worse. That's why they wear some dull colors. So it's not a culture shock, it's just science. Maybe you don't get to the difference between a culture shock. A culture shock is a social behavior, not something which is influenced by weather. So wearing a bright color and a dull color is not a culture shock. At the end of this video, I'm going to explain for you what a culture shock means. Let's first continue.
Dull color, even if it's a color like pink, it will be a certain shade or contrast of pink. It's not going to be a shouting pink. So there's also that. So a lot of the things in my wardrobe had to change. Like this skirt that I'm wearing right now, I would never wear it out here. Maybe in summer, I don't know, but I would never. This is something that I would wear when I'm still inside the house, because now I'm just scared. And then also the housing. The houses kind of all look the same on the outside. On the inside, they would be different, but on the outside, their houses, they are nice. They look really good, but I feel like there's a specific fashion they follow, which is not the thing we have back home. And at home, I feel like also don't have a bare minimum with housing. Like you find someone, there's some
culture shock. You lady. The things you are mentioning are not culture shock. First of all, land in Germany is owned by a government. It has a duty sometimes of building a house. You just pay a mortgage and maybe change your interior. Some of the countries where you are not even allowed to build a fence is because of a government policy, not a culture. You are mentioning things which are influenced by a government and weather condition. It's not culture, come on. That's why they somehow look the same, because they are built by the state. You either rent or pay mortgage. And maybe decide what you put in your interior. Many of the cases, the exterior is done by government. Let's continue.
Living in almost a kiosk. Then you find somebody living, okay, like in a middle-ish kind of house. Then there's somebody living in a mansion. But here, the apartments would probably have the same features, look the same, just different designs, you know. I feel like they have a bare minimum. You won't find somebody living like in the worst of houses unless they are homeless. And then the fact that people have hobbies, like these guys actually have hobbies, like hobbies that they take their time with them, they always do them. I guess it also has to do with the fact that back home, you know, you're busy, you're struggling, you're trying to make ends meet, you don't have time to develop a hobby and actually pay money to keep being in that hobby. Them to like piano, you know, or horse riding or a sport like that. But then these guys have hobbies, which is, I think, is a really good thing. It's something I would like to develop, but at this age, I feel like some of your interests have even died out. It's just work. You're just thinking of work
so
and whatnot.
That is the lady. None of the things you mentioned is a culture shock. Those are things influenced by government, policies, and maybe weather. A culture shock means a behavior. For example, if you had come out to say that in Uganda you're not allowed to marry your sister, in Germany it is allowed. I'm just giving an example. That's a culture shock. For example, in Japan, 1-2 dates you fall in love. It is within their culture. Someone can introduce you to their parent at least for 1 date. In other countries, they vary. That's a culture shock. In Britain, you are not allowed to come very close to a person. In Uganda, maybe it is allowed, it's not seen. That's a culture shock. None of the things you mentioned that are culture shock, those are differences, are all policies passed by the government, or it's because of the weather or anything. Okay? None of the things. Learn the difference between a culture shock and something different. There are some things which can be available in a developed country like Germany. It's a first world country and cannot be able to be found in a third world country. And they come about because of development, not culture. Go and learn what culture means. I remain yours truly, Kabir Sulaiman Magari, MP, Makinde East 2026. Have a good day and comment on this video if you feel like it is useful. Peace. Kusaba kimuze mpala na bulungi. Abampala no bulungi. Nange benjagala obulungi.